Hey y'all, so in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on vertical weeklies. This is just going to be a super quick video, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how I used vertical weeklies in the past. So I used a Hobonichi cousin for 2 years, and neither of the years the weeklies were super functional for me. Now, very realistically, I was oblivious to this at the time. I didn't know any better. I just loved how pretty it looked. I loved to see what everybody else was doing. I was so inspired by like Theory of Lauren and all these other people doing gorgeous little memory keeping and vertical spreads, but the timeline didn't really work for me. My school schedule and my work schedules stay pretty consistent. I can't do to-do lists in this little time, but I didn't know that at the time. The most functional part to me, I think, about these cousin weeklies was all of these trackers that I had on the sidebars. As you can see, like, it was cool to go back and just see the correlation. It was my sleep and mood most of the time, and these are trackers that I still have to this day, years later. So I loved how gorgeous this was. It was so pretty, but unfortunately for me, even the more minimal spreads, it was not functional. Like, this was not enough space for me to jot a to-do list, to kind of brain dump, like to get anything out. And this was always so stressful to me because, yeah, okay, work, but my work to-do list is somewhere here or on some random post-it note. And it didn't really it just gave me a timeline, not an accurate reflection of my week, because even if I had this block off to study, there's not enough space for me to write down what I have to study or my topic or brainstorm. And even when I did make those lists, I did earlier in the book, even I tried doing gratitude here, I just felt cluttered, overwhelmed. This was not a fun, functional spread for me. It was just pretty. Like I said, I didn't realize at the time. I was like, okay, perfect. I'm doing what everybody else is doing. Great and wonderful. Amazing, lovely for me. Also, when I used this cousin, I had 3 months basically of free pages that I didn't end up using because I didn't have this book with me for 3 months out of the year. So I ended up going back and I was using these as a meal planner for me and my family. So that was like a grocery list right here. Here I just had post-it notes with lots of meal ideas, lots of reference. So this was a cool way to use up those blank spreads. So, and this was a lot more functional to me than these beautiful, gorgeous weeklies right here. Like I said, these sidebar was the most functional part of these. But here, I had it blocked off kind of, I guess, into quarters. And I was writing what we were having for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And if not the family, then some weeks it was just me. Some weeks it was everybody. So yeah, this is how I used vertical spreads in my Hobonichi. Obviously, I didn't learn, because after this, I tried to do vertical spreads in a Leuchtturm. I did vertical spreads in an A5 Stylogy and all the bullet journals that I used after this cousin, and I just didn't learn. I'm like, okay, it feels like it should be perfect for my life. I'm a student, I'm an employee, I'm a manager, all my time is busy. I have all these appointments, doctor's appointment for my brother, doctor's appointment for my little sister. Oh, I have to make sure I get grocery shopping done in this break. Oh, I have to do this during this time. So I was like, it's perfect. Oh my gosh. And I could just do, but it's not functional for me because I don't have any place to list out the things I need to do, and I need to get things out of my brain and onto paper. But I still didn't learn. So I first used a cousin in 2020. So 2020, 2021, then 2022, and all of 2022, I was still over here trying to use vertical weeklies, talking about, why isn't it functional? Why am I always planner hopping? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why do I keep going to a blank notebook? I mean, who would have thought? Then it's 2023 right now, but like in August, yes, it was August of this year, I purchased this notebook off JetPens for like $12 because the year was basically almost over. And I was like, okay, I love the B6 Slim size. I know I love it. I used a Midori B6 Slim for a long time. School is coming up. I need the dates. And I love so much about this planner. Even though these pages right now are unused, granted, I'm actually transitioning into using this for work right now, so I'm gonna use them. This is the Jibun Techo B6 Slim Biz. So it has this Mio paper. I love this. Like, it's everything I would want in a bullet journal, like book list, movie list, task list. I love these Gantt charts as habit trackers. Now, as I've talked about before, monthly habit trackers don't work for me. So we can see here, I lasted a week, not even 7 days of using this when I started this notebook in August. So this is when I filled up my Hobonichi weeks and I needed a new planner. So I was just like, okay, I'll just move over to this. And I love the layout of this planner. Like, I think it's so smart. It's so wise. I love the size. It's not too big. These are the monthlies. And I had a whole plan how I was going to use this. I was going to like track my mood in this little thing. Like, this is a big calendar. And I love the layout of this book. But in this video, and then I started actually using them really functionally. I had school deadlines, work things. I put in all my deadlines till the end of the year. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Excuse me. So I love this. This is great. This is awesome. Whatever. Okay, come time to actually use it. Let's see what happens. So I have a few weeks of gorgeous pretty planning. Like, look how pretty this is. I'm like, okay, tasks. And then the problem that never worked for me before, what I realized was that I had no space for to-do lists. It was cramped. I felt stressed. Obviously I didn't think about that when I started using this notebook. So I kind of broke it up into these little sections. Like, okay, this section for school, this section for work lists, this section for personal things, right? And then I was going to use this top bar for the main things for that day. And I used it for a few weeks. Like, I love this. Like, this is so cute. The same way I loved all of my vertical spreads of my cousin, I love how this looks visually. I love how it looks for other people. I love how it looks for me. So cutesy. But is it really functional? Like, this tiny to-do list for this day, and then this tiny to-do list for work, and this tiny to-do list stressed me out. Like, this little habit tracker I was trying to do up here. As much as I feel like this planner has everything that I want. A lot of things I do on my schedule. I was tracking my eating, my food log right at the bottom. Like, this is perfect. I love this. I stopped because it stressed me out that it was so cramped. How skinny these little columns were. I couldn't really journal. It just had to be lists. And even my lists felt cramped. So I still use this. I tried to block off like work, school, gym. I started using my little Hita Girl sticker or paper doll stickers. And I had this little weeks tab here, had a month tab here, but I only used this, like I said, I only stuck with this 5 weeks. And I ended up, even if we keep going, or no, I guess 7 weeks. But if we kept going, I started using it for school, and this was just too much for me. Like, this list, like, I look at this day, like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to do, where my eyes are supposed to go. It's so stressful. And I love that this, and I already put in like school assignments for most of the rest of the year, and I'm like, okay, this is the readings I need done by each of these days. But this was not functional for me to pre-plan, because I realized to make my to-do lists in this book organized, it needs to be super structured and planned out so I'm not overwhelmed. So then I can't pre-plan ahead of time, and that's what I was used to using in my Hobonichi weeks. So I was like, okay, screw this, I'm done with this. And I went to my blank Stalogy. At first, my intention was to use this and then use the Stalogy as a journal. And that's how it started. If you watch the flip of my current B6 Slim Stalogy, the first like third of the book is all just journal and commonplacing. There's no planning in there. But this is what, the end of August is when I realized, okay, this is not going to work. I hate this. It doesn't make me feel organized. It makes me more stressed. I don't have a way to separate these areas. And basically, I need my dailies back. I need dailies back, or I need bigger to-do lists or something. But I knew that this wasn't working. And yeah, so that's my problem with vertical weeklies, like at least at this point in my life. As much as I love them, they're gorgeous. Like I've repeated 30 billion times, I love them. But here, I have more stickers in the front of this book, some receipts. As much as I love them, even this like Jibun Techo, like I love the layout of this. I think it's a perfect planner for somebody who could functionally use these weeklies, and I love how other people use them. But I've come to the realization that it's not for me. It sucks to suck, and that's okay. Like, I can think something's pretty and I can enjoy it, and I can even like filling it out. It could be therapeutic for me to do this, but it might not be functional for me and this time in my life. And guess what? That's a-okay. And this notebook I'm actually just gonna start using for work in 2024. I don't really need the dates. I can redate it, and I will just use these columns to do some time blocking and things at work. Now, you might ask me, oh, well, why don't you just use, or this is what I asked myself, why don't I just use a vertical layout to time block? And then what I can do is just write out my to-do lists and my dailies in my journal. And you could think that I responded by saying, oh yeah, such a good idea. But as I showed in my cousin, the time blocking in my weeklies, like even like this, doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like, it doesn't make me feel more organized. If anything, I get more stressed that I have a lot less time in my days than I thought I did. So what is my workaround for this? Because, as I've said 5 billion times before, I'm a college student, I'm busy, I have stuff to do, as does anybody else in the world. So what do I do to time block? And I have a few different things to go through when it comes to that. So I use a Google Calendar. I already have to use a Google Calendar for school, but my schedule doesn't change that much. So here, I will show an example now. This is this week. So this week I'm working very little because I have exams almost every day. So this is time blocked what my schedule looks like. This is pretty consistent. My work schedule updates automatically. This purple schedule, actually you can just disregard that, but this is pretty much the same. So I have free times Thursday mornings. This is actually Thursday morning right now when I'm filming this. I have time in the evening. Like tonight I have an exam that's from 5 until 8 p.m. So that takes up this whole chunk of time that's not even in here. But for the most part, all my weekly things are in here, and this is what a normal week looks like for me. So I don't have that much time in these little breaks to really plan things out. Now, because, for example, I knew that this week was going to be really busy, and I had some different things to plan out, and because I wasn't working that much. So I had more free time to use my time wisely. So what I did is I downloaded this thing on GoodNotes to use on my iPad, and I kind of just colored all the things I'm going to do. So yellow is the time I'm in class or at school. Blue is the time that I was to be studying. Pink is for personal and for the gym. And then purple was just other things. So like yesterday, I did this time to run errands. I did laundry, picked up my brother from jiu-jitsu, picked up groceries, and I was cooking. And then this yellow time was like commuting time, you know? So I used kind of this to just visually have a time blocking of my week. So I had this, and I had my Google Calendar. And that's all I needed. I have this already. Like, I have this Google Calendar already. A lot of this stuff doesn't change. It doesn't make sense for me to put that here. What I need is a to-do list for each day, and I like pre-planning. So this I could use, but the columns are just too skinny for me. It's just not for me. I think if I was going to use a vertical layout, would have to be like a take a note where you have half of a page. So I could feel like I need like 2 of these columns to write out a decent list where it doesn't feel cramped or cluttered or stressful to me, at least visually. So this is how I feel about vertical planning and time blocking at this given moment in my life. So as we know, things can change, and things can change drastically and quickly. So if I, in the future, have a need, I have this whole blank planner to use. I have all these digital tools at my disposal. This Google Calendar doesn't change. It's not going anywhere. So this is helpful to me. And then I can always do something like this. This literally took me 2 seconds. I didn't have to pull any markers out. Now, I know we love the paper planners, but right now I have to think about what is functional. And right now, when it comes to planning, writing things out, I'm really enjoying using my time to journal, to do some memory keeping. I don't really want to sit and time block something that I'm not going to reference, because I have my class schedule memorized. I have my train schedule memorized. I know what my work schedule is. I know what days I'm picking who up, what I'm doing those days. So I don't really have a need for that. I just need a way to see my appointments visually. And then, like I said, in a week like this where I was working actually very, very little, I'm only working 4 days this week. I needed to be like, okay, when I'm going to study, when am I going to get groceries, when am I going to do that? Like this morning I had an appointment. This green stuff is just some personal stuff. So it's like this, if I really want a time block, I can do this. It takes 2 seconds, and then I don't really look at it again. It's just the process of setting out a timed weekly schedule. That's what helps me stay organized. Other than that, I just need an overview. I don't need all of this. So no hate to all the vertical planners. I just know that me personally, I was influenced by all of the gorgeous, pretty spreads, and it's not functional for me, and that's okay. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you like this video and hearing me ramble. I don't know, because I don't really want to make videos that people don't want to watch, but on the other hand, I want to make videos that I personally would like to watch and like to see. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on vertical planning in general, why it works for you, why it doesn't work for you. I would love to continue that discussion down in the comments. Have a good one and God bless. Bye bye.